Welcome to the Film Ticket with Daniel and Kasich. We talk only films. No gossip, no drama, no bullshit. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the third installment of the Film Ticket. We are all really sorry. It's taken us about 2 weeks to get this episode up. We've had a lot of technical difficulties, and Kasich and I have both been sick. It's been a tough ride for the both of us. I talked to my sister today. She actually yelled at me. She's like, "You have not been as sick as I've been, because I have been hurling like a goddamn tree." And I was just like, okay.
And so since Daniel and I have both been sick, David, our producer, and our social media manager Rebecca
fell off the face of the earth.
They didn't help us.
They didn't really do anything. They really just went to the edge of the earth and jumped off.
They were like, "You're sick? Okay, well, bye."
Yeah, they really didn't hold up their end of the deal here. It's really, if we're well and we're willing to do all the work, then they're like, "Yes, I like this podcast. I'm going to continue helping you."
Thank you, David.
Thank you. So much love and respect is just shown to those two. Daily.
David, you're a weirdo. Okay, anyway, so this week, sorry to get your hopes up, but from last week we won't be talking, or from 2-3 weeks ago, we won't be talking about the Blair Witch Project, the ending, because Daniel is just such a loser.
It'll be in the bonus tracks. Jesus.
Anyway, so this week, so we're kind of doing a two-part episode this week. Animated films. So we're going to start off this first part of the first episode, episode 3, with animated films not made by Disney, including their affiliates, such as Pixar. Then the next episode, episode 4, will be animated films that are made by Disney and their affiliates, including Pixar.
So, this week on the docket, we have Boss Baby, How to Train Your Dragon, Kung Fu Panda, and Madagascar.
And then we got a debate for you that's really going to split some audiences listening to this. All right, so let's get started here, shall we?
So, Boss Baby...
Have you seen Boss Baby?
It is a wild ride.
Yeah, it is really trippy.
It is a...
You just, it felt like you dropped a ton of acid.
No, it is a Tim Burton reality when you watch the movie. And, I don't know. When I watched it, so it won for Best Animation, which...
Oh, it got nominated.
Nominated for Best Animation.
For the Oscars.
Let's all be real here. If an animated film comes out nowadays... Of course it's going to be animated because of the technology at hand, and try to compare Boss Baby to, Toy Story animation-wise. Boss Baby kicks its butt just because of the technology.
Right.
Besides that, though, it's just like, I don't know. It was so trippy that I really didn't get I don't know. I don't know how I felt about this.
Yeah,
film.
It's interesting because, me and our social media manager, Rebecca, we watched this film together, and we actually watched the film together, and this is an animated movie, and we didn't know what was going on the entire time. It was so weird. Was he dreaming? Was this all in his head? Was the baby actually talking?
And then when the whole part that's just like, okay, the kid understands what the baby's doing, but the parents don't. So that also, that brings to the illusion, is this just in his head?
Right.
And is he just going crazy?
If so, then the main character has some serious schizophrenic issues.
Look, he needs to go to a shrink. But no, so that brought it to me, and that's what I was thinking the whole time I was watching it. I'm like, wait, but the parents can't see the baby, so what the heck is going on? I couldn't get over that. My brain couldn't get around that fact.
Yeah, so The Boss Baby, not the best movie. The animation is, like you said, really good.
And, okay, Alec Baldwin kills it as the baby.
Right, because, he's funny. He's funny.
And also, he signed on. This is actually funny because we're talking about how ridiculous this is. He signed on because he thought this was so ridiculous. He probably didn't see the animation and went, oh, God, this is trippy as heck. But, the original idea is okay, without seeing the film, it's an interesting concept.
And so, Daniel and I, it's not that we don't hate this film. It's just kind of an odd film, not one we particularly enjoyed, but it definitely is a good family film to watch for kids and parents, because there are some, not necessarily grown-up, mature jokes, but there are some jokes that reference things that kids have never heard of. There's a part when the baby says, cookies are for closers only, which is a reference to Alec Baldwin's Glengarry Glen Ross thing. Coffee is for closers only. So I mean, I guess if people understand that, I mean that part was kind of funny. But yeah, it's a good family film, but Daniel and I didn't particularly enjoy it.
So, as DreamWorks' 34th animated film, how does this stack up to the rest of these animated films that DreamWorks has come out with? How do you think it stands up?
On an animation standpoint,
Yes.
I think animation standpoint, it's probably in the top 10.
Now,
for great
overall
animation.
story and overall movie-wise, do you think...
Story-wise, Boss Baby's probably pretty far back in the lineup.
Look, I'm saying maybe 25th, 26th range.
I don't know how many films DreamWorks have made, but it's got to be a decent amount.
I think it's 34.
Really?
It's 34.
Okay, so...
Oh, yeah, it's so... So it's 34, and this includes Trolls, Madagascar, Shrek, Rise of the Guardians, Penguins of Madagascar, basically all the Madagascar and the Shrek sequels, Home, Turbo, Captain Underpants. Captain Underpants, now that...
You didn't watch that?
That's it. I haven't watched it. No, that's so...
Yeah, so Boss Baby, story-wise, is pretty far back. Do you have any more things about the Boss Baby?
You know what? I don't really know. It was just a weird movie. I'm saying the word weird a lot, but I mean, like, if you've seen the movie, you are kind of tripping. Like, I thought of this movie, I compared it to the trippiness. I compared it to Doctor Strange. Because Doctor Strange, you ever seen that movie?
The Marvel one?
Yes.
No.
Okay, so at one point, whenever they go in like a dimension or whatever in New York City, and it is like you are high as the Empire State Building. It's crazy.
We don't condone drugs.
We do not condone drugs.
All right then.
That's how I related this movie. Like, I don't know how I felt about it because like I could drop acid and like it would be then watch this movie, drop an acid would be the most insane ride of my life. But it was just when a movie gets that trippy, it really takes away from the overall movie. It takes away from the movie as a whole for me personally, and I'm just like, why? What's the purpose of getting this trippy, for a lack of a better word?
Right. And
what's the purpose? I don't get
it. It's really, once again, that word. It's really weird because us watching an animated film, there's gonna be some weird parts, but we're gonna kind of give them a pass because it's animation, so they can get away with those kind of things with their animation
but when
style.
You use it too obsessively, it's like.
Yeah, so we had a pretty high tolerance for weirdness in this movie when we went into it, but it still withstood that threshold and went farther.
Yeah, if you use this wackiness, this trippiness, and you use it without like a reason, it's pretty pointless and it draws away from the movie. So, let us move on to How to Train Your Dragon. The only DreamWorks film I've ever seen. No, I'm just kidding. I've seen all these films.
You've seen Boss Baby.
I've seen The Boss Baby. I've seen all these films. I do my research. So How to Train Your Dragon.
A little bit. So DreamWorks Animation has produced about a total of 48 films. If you look on, just like do a quick little Google search and then scroll through the list. Not all of them are animated films. Some of them are like Saving Private Ryan, A Beautiful Mind, The Girl on the Train, which is weird because I don't know why they'd be under DreamWorks Animation, but they did produce them, which is kind of interesting.
Anyway, How to Train Your Dragon.
All right, so Kazik, give me the rundown. What did you think of How to Train Your Dragon?
How to Train Your Dragon is not only one of my favorite animated films, but it's actually one of my favorite films of all time. The animation is spectacular. It's so beautiful. The story is very solid. It's got some good voice actors being the characters. Jay Baruchel as Hiccup, America Ferrari as Astrid, Jonah Hill, Snotlout, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, Fishlegs, T.J. Miller, Tough Nut, Kristen Wiig, Rough Nut. So there's a lot of good voice actors in it, and also the thing I really took away from How to Train Your Dragon was the score by John Powell. The score and the soundtrack of How to Train Your Dragon is one of the most beautiful soundtracks you'll ever hear. And that's not exaggerating. That's truly how I feel.
That is high praise. Kasich does not give out praise that often. But no, I mean, you really hit spot on. I mean, it is a wonderful film, and the relationship between Hiccup and the dragon is just like the relationship between a kid and his first puppy. I mean, it's awesome.
It's
loving.
great. So, How to Train Your Dragon was nominated for 2 Oscars in the year of 2010 at the 2010 Oscars. It was nominated for Best Animated Feature Film of the Year and nominated for Best Achievement in Music Written for Motion Pictures, original score to John Powell.
The animators. My hat tip to the animators because they took so many extra steps. They went to flight school so they could figure out the mechanics of how a plane actually flew, so that when they were animating the dragons, they were like, okay, this isn't unrealistic. This is actually how they would maneuver. They all have their pilot's license, so if you ever work with any of the animators, I don't know why you would, but if you ever did, you could go on a plane with them and you could actually be safe. But so there, at one point, not Hiccup, what's the dragon's name? Toothless. So he gets the fake wing, and he's like all flinging around because he doesn't understand what it is. They took that because what they did is one of the animators took his cat. They took a ball of duct tape. They put it on the cat's tail, and they filmed the cat doing it. And what you're seeing in the movie is actually what a cat did in some living room one day when they didn't understand what a ball of duct tape was doing on its tail.
Wow, that's interesting.
That is commitment. No animals were harmed during the making of this film. But I thought that was awesome by the animators, and I thought that made Hiccup and that made the dragon seem more realistic because they took those extra steps.
Yeah, that's spectacular. I think before we move on to the next film, I just got to say the one part in this film, and I usually don't usually cry, or bawl in films. But the part...
Oh, I do. All the time.
Yeah, I know you do.
All the time.
The scene when the romantic flight music is playing and him and Astrid are on Toothless in the nighttime, that is one of... That is such a good scene. That scene makes me cry.
That's actually surprising. I mean, I get a little choked up, but I'm not shedding any tears.
That scene is so beautiful. And it's not sadness. It's like, wow, this is so pretty.
But okay, here's my one thing. And this, I really find this funny and ironic. So Hiccup is the only character that's like, I'm never going to kill a dragon. And then he's the only character that kills a dragon.
Oh.
Isn't that, think about that.
Well, thanks for ruining it.
He is the only character that complains.
Well, on screen.
Okay, on screen, he's like, I'm not going to kill one.
But you're supposed to get the illusion that all the other Vikings, they are used to doing it, so they don't really need to show it.
In the film, none of the other Vikings
kill a
dragon.
Yeah,
it's only Hiccup. Like, to me, that's ironic. I mean, like, of course, before and after, they could be killing dragons by the dozens, but I mean, we don't know that. So that's
right. I guess it doesn't necessarily show that.
It doesn't at all.
But yeah, How to Train Your Dragon. Once again, great family film. Way better than The Boss Baby.
Oh, way better. Oh, I'd take this movie over The Boss Baby any day of the week.
Yeah. So it's funny. It's heartfelt. It doesn't make you feel like you're high.
Yeah, tripping? No, it doesn't at all. It's
yeah,
nice. This is a film you can show your kids.
It's a very visually pleasing film.
Oh yeah, not overly stimulating at all, just beautiful. So, this brings us on to Kasich's favorite film, I think, ever.
I don't like it as much as How to Train Your Dragon, but it's so good.
Dude, he literally was singing this theme song for a good 3 days. I had a class with him. He would tap me on the shoulder and he would say the theme song.
Kung Fu Panda. Legends of Awesomeness. Sweet.
He has been so excited to do that during this podcast. Jesus.
Kung Fu Panda is so funny. Oh my god. I watched it twice this weekend. I'm not even screwing with you.
I like how he knows the theme song not to the movie, just to the spin-off TV series of the movie.
Yo, that's commitment. Kung Fu Panda got him hook, line, and sinker.
How can it not, though? How can it not?
Oh my god.
So Kung Fu Panda, another DreamWorks production. Sorry, we're kind of heavy on the DreamWorks here today. But it's got a great ensemble cast. Jack Black, amazing. Dustin Hoffman, spectacular. Angelina
Jackie
Jolie.
Chan. Jackie Chan.
Jackie
How is that
Chan.
not the first name you
God,
throw up?
Lucy Louise, Seth Rogen, Michael Clark Duncan, Wayne
Ian-
Knight. Who's Ian McShane?
Ian McShane? Ian McShane is in this. He is in John Wick.
Is he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's in John
Who
Wick.
is he
He's
in the-
awesome. Oh, he's just John Wick's
Oh,
best
I know this guy.
friend. Yeah, he's in Pirates,
He's in
of the
Pirates of the
Caribbean.
Caribbean, that's
he's in
where he's from.
Hercules. He's in a lot of good movies.
All right, so great ensemble cast for Kung Fu Panda. Like I said, I probably don't like it as much as How to Train Your Dragon, just because How to Train Your Dragon's so heartfelt and so raw of emotion. Kung Fu Panda though is hysterical. It is so funny. Every joke is on point.
Dude, you look right now. The listeners can't see this, but right now you look like a puppy.
It is
that
so
whose
good.
master just walked in the door and said, "Do you want to go for a walk?" That's literally what you look like right now.
It's so
Ears perked up.
It's so good.
Oh my god! So this was animated. I mean, I'm not sorry. In 2009 at the Academy Awards, this was nominated for Best Animated Feature Film of the Year. Well deserved. The animation is spot on.
The animation's beautiful.
I mean, I liked this film. I thought it was good. I thought it was funny. Of course, I think you have way more good things to say about it than I could ever say.
So Kung Fu Panda is so good. So like I said, actually in the last film for How to Train Your Dragon, it's got the same composer for the score,
Mhm.
John Powell. I'm surprised this one actually didn't get a nomination for music either. So if you listen to the soundtrack for this,
I did
it's
think the
very
score
good.
was really good.
The score is very good for Kung Fu Panda. Yeah, the animation's quick. The jokes are funny. They're not just like hit and miss, like kind of.
No, they're
no
not
offense to the sequels.
They're not throwing out the jokes. Just be like, please find this funny.
Yeah, it's
It's
so-
actually yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty funny. I love it. Kung Fu Panda 2, just kind of a little quick thing. Kung Fu Panda 2 is fine. I don't think it's as good as Kung Fu Panda 1, but it's still pretty okay.
I don't think sequels are as good as the
Kung Fu Panda
originals.
2 is pretty good, and we'll get to that in a little
We'll
bit.
get to that in a little bit. That's
And-
a little.
And
little
Kung Fu
sneak
Panda
peek.
3 has a great score. The bum ba na na na. But otherwise, the movie
I
itself is
think
just
we could
okay.
do a full podcast just off of Kung Fu Panda for you.
Kung Fu Panda's so good.
All right, but no. So the animation spot on. A little fun fact: when they were animating, every time the animators got done with a scene, they would get a fortune cookie.
I mean, that's kind of offensive. Because
Okay,
aren't
well,
fortune cookies an American thing?
Yes,
Yeah, they are an American thing, but like,
but so is Kung Fu
okay,
Panda.
right off.
so
The,
is Kung Fu Panda.
Kung-
The only Chinese guy in this movie is Jackie Chan.
needed,
And he's got like 3 lines. So I don't even-
dude, but it's Jackie Chan. He probably got paid $1 million just to be in this.
And so, actually, my one gripe for Kung Fu Panda that I have is Jackie Chan needs more lines. I know there's a lot of people, so they got to get a lot of story
Yeah, but it's Jackie Chan.
in. Jackie Chan
It's-
needs more lines.
All right, Jackie Chan, but great film, great animated film, and needed. Okay, take your kids to go see this, and then they'll be singing the theme song for the next 5 days, and you're gonna want to punch them. I know this from experience because Kazak's basically a child.
Kung Fu Panda! Master Shifu saw the warrior blossom. Oh, Daniel's not happy, and David looks like he's about to pass out.
All right.
right.
On that happy note, we're going to move on to our last film, which is Madagascar. So, Madagascar.
We're doing a ton of
We're
we
doing
did
a lot,
all
We're doing a
DreamWorks.
lot of DreamWorks because DreamWorks really, besides Disney, I mean, they really are right there in the animation.
Because
I
what?
mean, like,
Blue Sky only's got Ice Age.
and I mean, okay, well, I could talk all day about Ice Age, but I'm just like, I mean,
I
if
don't.
you know of any, okay, if our listeners right now know of any animation
Well-
in films, oh, hold on. Okay,
So actually, one of our professors, I was telling her about our podcast, and she was like, "Oh, what's your next episode about?" And I was like, "Oh, animated films that aren't Disney." She's like, "Oh yeah, like Hayao Miyazaki work." I'm like, "Why aren't we adding Hayao Miyazaki work in here? Like, Spirited Away, the Japanese animation's
Yeah.
huge." And so, like, I guess we just forgot about it. Hayao Miyazaki's great. We're just throwing it out there.
Yeah,
I don't.
I've actually never seen any of the work, so I'm pretty lost. But I mean, like, yeah.
Yeah, so it's So he's a Japanese animator, and he's like huge, and he did films like Spirited Away, My Neighbor Totoro,
Okay.
and those movies are like the pinnacle of great animation. So we were gonna, if we forgot about him, B, and if we were to put him in here, we'd just be praising it constantly because they're so
Yeah,
good.
you really when a movie has such great animation, it's tough to actually pick it apart that way.
And they've got great stories too. It's not just
it's
like-
really tough to pick it apart. We like picking apart stories. So,
Yeah, so-
speaking of picking apart things, Madagascar. Oh God.
Do you like Madagascar?
Not really.
It's okay.
You know what? I like the
like it.
penguin.
Shut up.
My favorite part, hands down, is the freaking penguins.
The penguins is the best part.
The penguins is lit. I would watch this movie again just for the penguins.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, do you care about Ben Stiller's lion character?
No, I
I
don't.
know. No one does.
Like, no, I don't care what happens. I mean, Chris Rock's awesome. I don't care. I don't care what happens to anybody. I just want to see the penguins kick some butt.
And then afterwards, parents were getting super upset with their kids because they were singing the "I Like to Move It" song that like kids became super obsessed with. I know I was one of them. Became obsessed with it with Sacha Baron Cohen and his annoying voice. And just,
Sacha Baron
oh
Cohen.
God.
I love.
Oh,
Okay, come
God.
on. I don't think we were cursed with that song. I think we were blessed.
Well,
by
it had
that
already
song.
existed, and so I just feel like.
Yeah, and they put it behind one of the worst animations ever.
And now people only think of Madagascar, like a
Yeah.
subpar DreamWorks film.
The animation just kind of stinks. The overall story.
It doesn't stink. It's okay animation.
Okay, it's decent animation, but
It's better
come
than-
on.
they could do
Really?
better.
It could have been so much better. And it's just like the overall story isn't enticing. Okay, it's enticing for a little kid who's like, Mommy, why is the lion talking? Oh, gosh.
And so, okay, so the animation I'm fine with. I think the animation's fine. It's not awful. It's good animation. I respect the animators for doing it. Because then they went on to do. But the thing that really gets me is on the DVD front of Madagascar. It says from the creators of Shrek. Okay, good start. And then it says and Shark Tale. Why would you put
Don't
that?
you
What?
dare disrespect Shark Tale.
Oh, we hit a
so
nerve.
bad.
Oh, we hit a
Shark
nerve.
Tale is so
Oh,
bad.
Shark Tale, dude, is awful. He is awful.
Don't even get it. Will Smith
That
is trash.
Will Smith is sitting there on his filmography looking at Shark Tank going,
Shark Tale.
Shark Tale, Shark Tank, both suck.
Actually, Shark Tank's a pretty good show.
Okay, yeah, Shark Tank is actually pretty good. I'm too heavily invested in this. Shark Tale, he's looking at Shark Tale right now going, go away, disappear, please. That is a black mark. That is an F on
Yeah.
his filmography.
You don't try to bring people into a movie by saying these are the guys that made one of Will Smith's worst movies besides The Wild Wild West.
Oh my god.
Okay, don't you dare diss the Wild Wild West.
Oh
I was
my
joking.
God,
Wild West
what?
is
I was
so
joking
bad.
about the
No!
Shark Tales,
Wild
but the
No!
Wild Wild
It's-
West is so
No,
Wild West is
no,
so bad. It's
Wild West-
hilarious.
Wild West is
It's
not funny.
awful. It was okay. It was on
There's
Netflix.
a giant metal spider in the end.
I watched
What does
it,
that
dude.
mean?
I watched it for 5 minutes and I turned it off. I couldn't handle how bad it was.
It's like Men in Black, but like in
But
the West.
crap.
But crap. It was
But garbage.
awful. It was awful.
It's a great movie to laugh at, and
No.
I
The
enjoy
best
it
part
every
of that
time.
entire
No.
film is Salma Hayek's butt. That's the only good part. That's the only good part in the film.
Oh my god. Okay.
God.
Oh my god. Okay, so
You don't like the song?
No.
Okay.
dude, I'm keeping this whole conversation on the podcast.
Okay.
I swear.
Don't keep the Salma Hayek butt thing.
We are hardcore. I would say Madagascar before freaking Shark Tale.
It's better, you mean?
I would watch it 10 times in a row before I would turn on Shark Tale.
Madagascar, like we're saying, it's not DreamWorks' best work by far. It did start a franchise, so it made them a lot of money to help them create, more sequels and other stuff. A TV show too, actually.
But so they were able to make Madagascar too. But do you think most of their success came from those penguins?
But I think so.
Because you had the TV show, you had I think
Their
they
own
had-
movie,
they
right?
Had, don't they have their own? Don't they have 2 movies? Or
They were
have one?
they were the pre-Minions for Despicable Me.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, Minions did steal that. I mean, I could have seen another Penguins movie easily, but now they made Minions.
Or another
There's-
Alvin and the Chipmunks movie.
Anyway,
so, like we're saying, Madagascar, it's okay. If we were really wearing heavy nostalgia goggles, we'd probably say this movie's amazing. But
Oh yeah, it's part of our childhood. I mean,
yeah,
like,
it really came out. 2005 was really when we were kids.
No, yeah, I was 6 when this movie came out, so I have very hard nostalgia goggles for this.
Right.
That's why.
No, yeah, it's tough for us because this was our part of our childhood, so it's tough to rip it apart at some point because it's just like, yo, this was part of our childhood.
Growing up, right.
Like I couldn't rip apart Toy Story because that is my hardcore childhood right there. So,
Right.
what? Any other lasting thoughts about Madagascar? Any other
Actually,
remaining thoughts?
what's weird is Madagascar's got a pretty decent ensemble cast. Ben Stiller. A lot of people don't find him funny. I think he can be funny when he tries.
Oh yeah.
Chris Rock, hilarious. David Schwimmer.
I mean,
He hadn't been doing anything since Friends. Anywho, needed some
no,
money.
but he has an interesting voice though.
He does. He's
Andy
funny.
Richter as Mort. I love Andy Richter.
Really?
Dude, he is Conan's step.
That's Conan. Yeah, that's Conan's
Yeah,
sidekick.
Conan
right.
O'Brien.
I love
that's his
Conan.
Right.
that's his buddy on the show. I love Andy Richter. I think he's so funny.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Anyway, so yeah, Madagascar. Yeah, good family movie. Not the greatest thing DreamWorks has ever done. All right, so now we're gonna go to our final segment here. The big debate here today. Got a lot of split things here in the studio today, especially during all of our our crew here. It's 3-1 in the studio. So Shrek 1 versus Shrek 2. Daniel's got Shrek 1. I've got Shrek 2.
So I will defend Shrek. So first off, Shrek 2 is so predictable. Oh come on, it's not.
Shrek 1 is just as predictable
No,
as Shrek 2.
okay, no.
It's an
Well,
animated
Shrek-
kids movie.
Shrek
What do you
1,
expect?
I'll put talk to the hand. Shrek 1 is a beautiful, loving kids movie that they were just testing the waters. They were putting a spin on the whole like, oh my God, you need to be beautiful, and then they got they hit a home run, and then Shrek 2 it was all like, we have their money. What are they gonna do?
Okay, that's Shrek 3.
No, that is Shrek
That's
2.
Shrek 3.
That is Shrek 2. I honestly, I think that Shrek 1 is just, it's a better story. And, there was the friendship between Donkey and Shrek and that creation. How many classic lines are in that? Shrek 2, go screw yourself. There's no classic lines. And no matter what you say, even if everyone thinks Shrek 2 is better than Shrek 1, you couldn't have Shrek 2 without the success of Shrek 1.
Wow, I can't believe you're going to
I
that
am going
way.
that way.
That is a man of defeat.
That
Who
is
says
a man.
that?
No. It's not a man of defeat.
That is a man of
It's
defeat.
a man that has a really good cushion.
Okay.
So no matter what you say, I always have a nice, very soft landing spot.
All right.
With that,
All
with
right.
that comment.
Here we go. Shrek 2, the jokes are funnier. There's actual written jokes in Shrek 2. In Shrek 1, there's some of them, but okay, Eddie Murphy saying I'm making waffles.
That's hilarious.
That's not a joke. That's
Yes,
that's
it
Eddie
is.
Murphy saying he's making
Dude,
waffles.
Anybody can get up on stage and in like a weird voice and be like, I'm making waffles.
And everybody laughs, but it's not a joke.
But it's still funny.
So
though.
listen. Shrek 2 has many lines.
First, okay, but wait.
Listen.
You were
When-
commenting when I was talking.
When Puss in Boots comes and he says, I am Puss in Boots. And then there's so many memorable things from Shrek 2 that you remember.
Was that funny though?
What?
Is that at all funny? Like, what are you talking about?
Okay, I'm sorry.
You're like, there are funny lines. And you're like, it's Puss in Boots. That's not funny.
No, I'm sorry. I'm talking about iconic lines now.
Okay, I thought you kept saying.
I
funny
apologize.
lines.
I
I'm like,
apologize.
what?
So it has so many iconic lines, and there's so many more memorable parts in Shrek 2. I'll list a few for you right now.
Please.
Okay, so there's the part when they go to the Muffin Man. They go get Mongo. That part's hilarious. When they take over the castle and they're trying to take out the big Mongo gingerbread man by using milk, and they're like, more milk, less foam. That's hysterical. The end when they're singing La Vida Loca. The part when it does a cross-cutting a la Godfather style, when it goes between her singing the song and them dancing to Shrek trying to break in the castle, that is excellent filmmaking, not from an animations point of view, but from a filmmaking point of view. And also, not only did I say earlier that Shrek 1, I mean, yeah, there are some good jokes, but Shrek 2, almost every joke works. There's parodies of things. There's parodies of Hollywood and Far, Far Away. There's parodies of fast food restaurants when they go to Almighty Burger and he gets the mighty Prince meal. There's a parody when he goes to that bar and it's all full of evil guys. That's where all the villains hang out. That is genius. That is smart, and that's good storytelling to not only make the story smooth, better, flow better, but it also is throwing in some wit and some smart, funny things to say. The whole Puss in Boots thing makes it so it's not just Shrek and Donkey yelling at each other. So it adds another dynamic to the character, and then at the end of the film, they're all better friends.
First off, you want to roll. Second off, okay, you know what? They did have they were able to do Far, Far Away, but in Shrek 1, they sat there and they introduced all these characters. They were like, hey, let's take all of these story tales, the Gingerbread Man. They took Little Red Riding Hood, like the wolf. They got all of those, so you can say, oh, well, in Far, Far Away, they had all these, they had all this stuff. But in Shrek, they brought in as many, and even they brought in more iconic characters that kids would go like, oh, that's, it's all these fairy tale characters. And so, I mean, they brought in Far, Far Away. There's parodies of this. There's a Far, Far Away Land. I'm like, no crap, there'd be a Far, Far Away Land because the movie made money, and there wasn't in Shrek 1, there wasn't hey, this is a land we're going to. So, I mean, I think that is not an indictment of how good the movie was, but I think that's an indictment of the fact that it was the place had a name. And so when the place has a name in a successful movie, then you can put it in a theme park and be like, hey, let's go to that because we saw that movie. So I don't think that is an indictment about how iconic it is in the film. I think it's an indictment of how successful the film was, and now we can use that because in Shrek 1 there's no Archer Farms swamp, you know what I'm saying? There's no names to any places. So I mean that, but I mean Shrek 2, here's the thing. When Shrek 1 did so well, it freed up Shrek 2 to have fun with it, to be more flexible because Shrek 1 there was almost they didn't have any straight out jokes. More heat, less fun. That is funny. I'll give that to you. And the whole him storming the castle. That's awesome. I mean, I'm being real. That's awesome. But I think Shrek 2 had more freedom. They could do more things. They could have more fun. And so Shrek 1, you had to be able to come up with a good story based around a really unsellable thing, which is ugly princess, ugly guy that gets her in the end. That is a hard thing to sell.
Okay, so can I say something here?
Yeah, of course.
All right, so you're saying here that that Shrek 1 was the one that led Shrek 2 to take all these creative liberties. Yeah. And be almost...
Look, I will say that I will defend that in every single sequel that comes out, that I think this is true of a lot of sequels, that the original does not have a lot of liberties, and the sequels some are able to take more liberties. I think that is shown in many sequels, that the original is very much just, it's not rigid, but there are definite boundaries, and the sequels are like, hey, let's do this, let's have fun with this, let's explore this, because if it doesn't work, we know it does work, and we can make a third one, we can just cut that out, make a short reference to how we got rid of it.
Okay, so first thing, so when Shrek 1 first came out, everybody was really psyched because it was going to be an off-brand fairy tale kids film. And so when you're saying that they didn't have enough creative liberties, I think they did.
I mean, okay, I'm not saying they didn't have enough creative liberties. I think they had an extraordinary amount of creative liberties, but I'm saying that you compare the two films, and I feel like number 2 had more.
I think one thing you're trying to get at, the second film, because of the success of the first film, had more liberties to take shots, I guess, at things. So they could take shots at Hollywood and that establishment. They could poke fun at more things because they had the success back from the first one. With the first one, you can't really introduce a subject and then also be able to make all these different parodies. There's in the Shrek 2, there's the Cops parody of the TV show Cops with the catnip. In the first one, you can't really do that because you don't have any credibility yourself, and so you have to come up with more original things. And also, while I'm at it, your thing of there aren't many jokes. In the first Shrek movie, when the gingerbread man, when Gingy is getting interrogated and tortured, and he's walking along with the thing, and he goes, "Do you know the Muffin Man?" That is hilarious.
Yeah, I would say I'm not denying that there are no jokes in Shrek 1. Shrek 1 has some funny jokes, like the "that'll do donkey" joke. That joke's hysterical.
And I thank you, David, for really summarizing what I was trying to say. But yeah. So I do feel like but I think Shrek 2 had more of those liberties.
And so can I say something?
Yeah, no.
But so then on that logic, though, if Shrek 2 was allowed to be created more liberty, like have more liberties and take more shots, then wouldn't the one that has take more shots and have more liberties to do different things be the better one? Does that make sense?
No. That does actually make perfect sense. And I mean, that's a very logical.
And so I guess it's just a differentiation of opinion of how you look. Is the movie good because of all the work they put into it, or is the movie good because or all the necessary like things that they had to come up with original content, or is a movie good because of all the creative risks they took?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you actually hit it on spot on, and I don't know if I can give you a definitive answer whether it's like it.
Right, and I can't either.
No. So I mean, like, I think we're basically a stalemate. But I mean, like, honestly, when you have those great sequels, and I think you do have to be like, okay, why were these able to be so good? Why were these able to take so many shots and have so many creative liberties? So I think if you're saying Shrek 2 is good, you really have to look about what was able to make it good, because that's a sentence. Right. And yeah, I mean, like, so in that mind, I think Shrek 1 is better because it was able to be funny, be creative, without being able to take shots. And Shrek 2 takes shots.
But I think it's good because Shrek 2 not only takes shots and like is out of bounds, they also add to the creativity because those shots are a part of their creativity. Because them creating like far, far away is Hollywood. That's creativity. That's not somebody else coming up with something.
You know what though? But I mean, like, I still look at that by going like, Shrek was able to be as funny as Shrek 2. Shrek 2 might have been funnier. I'm going to give it to you. It might have been funnier. But Shrek didn't have any creative liberties. It was able to make a very successful film. Shrek 2 was able to, it was funny because it had so many liberties to take so many shots.
And so like we said, Daniel said, we're both kind of on stalemate, but let's agree here that Shrek 3 and Shrek 4 are absolute awful.
Oh, they're garbage. They should have been done as Shrek 2.
Except I like Shrek the Halls, the holiday special.
I never saw that.
I also like the Shrek Halloween.
The Shrek Halloween special.
That's funny.
That
so there are still cash cows. This thing is still a cash cow you can pull off.
Okay.
So that was our little debate for the day. Please leave us a comment about what film you think is better, Shrek or Shrek 2.
What about Shrek 5 coming out in 2019?
They're coming out with a Shrek 5. That's going to be garbage. That's going to be garbage.
Right. Watch it be good.
Watch it be the best film of 2019.
So the next episode will be Disney films, Disney animated films and their affiliates, including Pixar. So all you big Pixar Disney fans out there, we'll be talking about. And by the way, we didn't mention this at the beginning We probably should have, but these are movies post 2000.
Oh yes. We really had to make that decision because there were great films in the prior 2000s, but then we looked at next week's lineup, and Disney has been around since the 1940s and 50s. So if we were going to look at best animated films by Walt Disney, we would be here for hours. So these will all be films post 2000.
And that way, it's also easier to compare them with the DreamWorks films because DreamWorks isn't as old as Disney.
Yes.
DreamWorks doesn't have Steamboat Willie. They don't have.
Yeah, they don't have those iconic Sleeping Beauty,
Snow
White.
White.
They don't have those.
Right.
Because those are all on a pedestal that's higher than Mount Everest.
Yeah.
So, but no, we're glad you decided to join us today. Thank you for listening. Thank you through all of our laughs and our debates. It's wonderful having you. Please go on, like our Facebook page. Leave us a comment. Subscribe. Look at all the other places you can find our podcast. We would love to have you more listeners. Tell your friends about us because we love having more people listen.
Thank you so much and have a great day.